Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the new New York Times Siena College poll, which has Biden with a 14% lead, 50 to 36. So we're going to look into that poll. We're going to look at the prediction that the poll that they have, and we're also going to look at different groups from the poll that they took. So, in the new poll, they registered 1,337 registered voters. 14% said that they would vote for a third-party candidate, which is a lot, but a lot of that, which is, a pretty big amount, but a lot of that is from people who have not yet decided. And then 36 said that they would vote for Donald Trump, and 50% said that they would vote for Joe Biden. So, this is the biggest lead that Joe Biden has had in any of these polls. The CNN poll also had him at 14%, but this poll has now been added, and it gives Biden a 14% advantage, which is one of his biggest lead yet in this campaign. So let's look at some of the individual numbers. We're gonna look at now. So we're gonna look at. But we're going to look at the different demographic groups, and we're going to see who has the lead right now. So, for Democrats, Joe Biden does have the lead, of course. For very liberal, the group of very liberal, Joe Biden does have a lead. And then Joe Biden has a lead in with blacks, which is going to be important in this election. In the somewhat liberal group, Joe Biden has the lead. In people with a graduate degree, Joe Biden has the lead. And Joe Biden has a slight lead in the Hispanic group, which is interesting because that's going to be another interesting group along with the group of black people. Age 18 to 39, Joe Biden has the lead. Moderate, Joe Biden has the lead. Age 30 to 44, Joe Biden has the lead. In white and college educated, Joe Biden has the lead. Where people with a college degree, Joe Biden has a lead. Joe Biden has a slight lead with people in women. People in the Northeast, Joe Biden has a lead. And Joe Biden is attracting independent voters. He has the lead there. In other ethnicities, Joe Biden has the lead. In people on the West Coast, Joe Biden has the lead. Midwest, Joe Biden has a slight lead. In the South, Joe Biden has a slight lead. In high school students, Joe Biden has a very small lead. In men, Joe Biden has a small lead. In age 65 plus, Joe Biden has a very slim lead. In age 45 to 64, Joe Biden has a small lead. In people who did somewhat go to college, Joe Biden has a lead. In whites who are not college educated, Donald Trump has the lead. In somewhat conservative, Donald Trump has the lead. And very conservative, Donald Trump has the lead, and Donald Trump has a big lead in the Republican group. So, Joe Biden does have a lead in groups where he needs it. Obviously, he has leads in the Democrat group, but in specific demographic groups, Joe Biden does have a lead. Like with blacks, it's a pretty big lead. With Hispanic voters, it is a pretty big lead. With moderates, with independents, with people with college degrees, Joe Biden has a lead. So let's look at the Real Clear Politics, all of the latest updated polls. They added the new poll that came out today. So The Hill has Biden with a 10% lead. Emerson College has Joe Biden with a 6% lead. NPR and PBS has Joe Biden with a 7% lead. CNN has Biden with a 14% lead. CNBC Biden with a 10% lead. Quinnipiac Biden with an 8% lead. Fox News Biden with a 12% lead. Harris Biden with a 12% lead. And this poll that we just looked at was done by the New York Times, and they also did a poll with Siena College. And they gave Biden a 14% lead. YouGov has Biden with an 8% lead. And thanks to that new poll, on Real Clear Politics, Biden's lead has gone from 9.5 up to 10.1. As you see here, Donald Trump takes yet another fall. Joe Biden with a 51 to 40.9 lead. And so yeah, Joe Biden has lead in Democratic groups where he needs it. So let's look at Hillary and Trump's Clinton against Trump's in the demographic groups, because Biden has a lead in almost all of the demographic groups. So here's how groups voted in the 2016 election. Trump won the vote for men, which is interesting because Hillary Clinton does have the lead. Joe Biden does have the lead with men. Currently, with women, Biden has the lead. Hillary won that. With whites, Donald Trump has a big lead, but he won big in the white voters. And Biden is closing in. African American, Biden has a lead there. Hispanic voters, Biden does have the lead. In Asian voters, Hillary Clinton won that one. So Biden would take that. So most of them are the same. But, here Donald Trump won the independent vote. And Biden does have the lead in the independent vote. So that would be big. So let's go ahead and look at their prediction from Siena College and New York Times on an electoral map. This is not the prediction. Let me get it on right now. So, obviously they have all the safe Democratic states. They're giving Arizona to Biden. And then in this poll that was taken, they're actually giving Georgia to Joe Biden. See if there's anything else that I could change. So they're giving Joe Biden a pretty big lead. They give him all the safe states, and then you add on Georgia, which would be huge for them. They're actually giving that to Joe Biden. So this is a pretty big lead that New York Times and Siena College is actually giving Joe Biden over Donald Trump. So it would be a 349 to 188 win for Joe Biden. See if I could find anything else about the demographic groups. I think 538 has one. Okay, so basically, the Siena New York Times poll, which should be pretty accurate, probably not. I wouldn't take it as, a 100% accurate prediction, but it is pretty accurate, 14%, because all the other polls agree that Joe Biden does have the biggest lead. The only lead that Trump has as far as demographics that is, as far as demographic groups, are the Republican voters. Joe Biden has all the other groups. The group that he could take back that Trump won in 2016 is the independents. And Trump won that by 4%. And in this new poll, Biden does have the lead with independent voters. So I think that Biden could take, the independent voters, which would be key, and then Biden, it looks like, he can hold on to the Hispanic voters, hold on to the African American voters in this election. So the New York Times poll, I think it is pretty accurate. Maybe not that big of a lead, but, all of these polls are agreeing that Biden has a big lead. So Biden also leaves voters on the topics of the virus and race. Which is going to be key. Two of the key issues are going to be, the coronavirus, because it's still going to be a thing. And the second issue is going to be race, the Black Lives Matter, things like that. And Joe Biden does have a lead in this poll that came out. So Joe Biden has a lead as far as key demographic groups, most demographic groups, and he has a lead in the overall poll by 14%. And he has a lead on tackling big issues such as race and the coronavirus, because that will most likely still be a thing even after this election, as the topics that the candidates will have to tackle. So yeah, Real Clear Politics, with this newest poll, they now give Biden a 10.1% lead. It's gone up 0.6%, but overall Biden's lead, in every poll is going up. So yeah, that is basically going to do it for this video. We talked about Biden's lead in the demographic groups, Biden's lead in tackling key issues, Biden's overall lead, and we compared his lead to Hillary Clinton. And we also looked at what Biden's lead is on a map according to the New York Times and Siena College poll. So thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video, which will come out tonight around 6, anytime from 6 to 7:30 p.m. once I find a topic that is interesting. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you tonight.